new form of Pepsi-Cola. They even use the same logo as Pepsi, and now we're suffering the consequences. I think, look, I'm looking at the potential for maybe having to get out of here at some point in time.
Wow, it's funny you say that. I was on 590 AM yesterday, and I just had to talk to my wife on the phone, and, you know, I've said I'll go down with the ship, but at a certain point, I mean, other countries are horrible. That's why I wouldn't leave, because it's a global government. But at a certain point, I mean, if they telescreens and black uniforms, I mean, we may have to get out of here, Wayne. I mean, this sucker is going down faster than I thought.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I thought at this point in my life I'd be looking at, you know, planning for retirement, and now looking at political exile abroad. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten in this country, and you know, I've seen it just go downhill, and it's disgusting. And this new Congress, by the way, is not going to change anything, because I understand that the
oh no, it's all going to be real conservative, and O'Reilly's like execute anybody that leaks anything, and let's arrest anybody that videotapes cops, and the Republicans are like, yeah, get rid of the internet, I like it, get rid of free speech, that's how we get tough on that fancy pants Assange.
You know, the freshman Republican class has already been taken through the Heritage Foundation to be given their marching orders, so they're going to be caught up in that Republican crunching machine, and they're not going to, whatever they said during the campaign, that's not what they're going to do when they're in.
Just like Obama, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And meanwhile, Boehner is trying to block Ron Paul from the committee chairmanship on that banking committee. I mean, it's just a bunch of, and Republicans are like, I like Boehner. I mean, they're just, folks, you're going to get hurt real bad. For those of you out there that are still giggling and, you know, picking your nose and everything, you better get it through your head. This is real bona fide tyranny. You got it? And tyranny is aimed at the average schmo. They want your property. They want your money. They're going to take it all. I mean, Wayne, what do you make of the New York Times telling us how great it is that they're going to cut veterans' pay and pensions and make veterans get their own insurance? You're a veteran of the Navy. Yeah. I mean, how brazen is that?
Well, this is how they're going to stick the veterans into the Obamacare mess. That's what I see, you know. And, you know, the veterans are going to basically, if every veteran applied for their benefits, it would break the Veterans Administration.
Well, stay there. Let's come back and talk about that, get more into WikiLeaks, where you see this going. This is disgusting. I said cops at the FCC was the chairman. I know it's not. He's the commissioner. He is a commissioner. Whatever. One of the heads of the FCC openly saying shut down our free speech. I've had enough of it. Going back to Wayne Madsen. Wayne, in closing, other thoughts on WikiLeaks. Drudge is reporting that he's going to be man of the year, person of the year. And they're going to really use him, I guess, as the internet bin Laden. But he has a face like, I guess, the West. And so here we go. I mean, this is horrible.
Well, you know, the other thing I find interesting is that we've got a leak of State Department cables that have shown up on a Lebanese newspaper's website, Al Akbar, that apparently are not from WikiLeaks. So we may have another source, which I think tends to take the attention off of this private first-class Manning. I don't think he was the guy. If we've got another source outside of WikiLeaks, as far as I'm concerned, I think that exonerates.
Well, there's no way. I mean, you worked at the NSA and of course, in the Naval Data Command as well. Right. You know they don't just have everything in one spot like this. No, and it would trigger all kinds of audit alarms if that much information was being accessed, and then on top of that being copied. Okay, expanding on that, he's talking about this doomsday code that he's got to release the mother lode that will reportedly dwarf what we've even seen so far. But you said 6 months ago or more that he would start going after George Soros' enemies, and now, sure enough, he's going after financial institutions. Yeah, Bank of America, apparently maybe a couple other banks. The first one was a Swiss bank called Julius Baer. When he went after them, their stock plummeted, and it became right for a hostile takeover by none other than Mr. Soros. So we've seen him play games with Soros before. You know, I really think Assange was in this way over his head, and now he's found out the hard way what it's like to deal with these kinds of people. Apparently,
he was co-opted after the work he did with the Chaos Computer Club in the early 90s, and, he's been working with these people ever since, and now he found out that, sometimes they don't let the spies come in from the cold. They leave them out there to dry.
Well, they always pick a type like him to flush down the toilet. And, people that work for this system, it's just like Bush admits in all these books and stuff that he ordered torture. But when it all came out about the torture, we had the White House memos ordering it, saying it's not illegal when the president orders it, from John Yoo and Alberto Gonzalez. They sent a bunch of people to prison that followed orders who were still in prison, Wayne, as you know. But Bush can hop around admitting he ordered it. It's the same thing with Assange. People who work for this group need to why do the globalists love to flush their own people down the toilet?
Oh, they're useful. They're throwaway items. We've seen it time and time again. Whether there's a guy like Assange or there's somebody like Manuel Noriega or Saddam Hussein, they just rolled up like an old piece of toilet paper and throw it aside. That's what we've seen it time and time again.
What do the globalists think of somebody like you or I, people that really are legitimately fighting the global corrupt system? I mean, what do they think of us?
Oh, I don't know. I guess, when you go from being an annoyance to being a problem, I guess they up the ante on you. So that's why I'm always looking behind me. I look both ways before I cross the street.
Well, I'm seeing America really start to wake up. I mean, I talked about the YouTube videos put out by Homeland Security, and every comment, and I've spent a lot of time reading hundreds of them last night and today, I couldn't find anybody that agreed with telescreens at Walmart, and they were all very thought-provoking and showed a full spectrum understanding of the public of what's really happening here. I mean, is that not encouraging?
Well, we've got Janet Napolitano doing audio messages on D.C. subway and Metro bus, basically saying if you see something suspicious, report it immediately. So we've already had a taste of that here in Washington.
So they're turning all of America into one big airport.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, the good news is that no one's buying it that I've talked to.
I hope not. I mean, the question is, when was it the proper time to get out of Nazi Germany? Was it 34, 35, 36? People waited too long. It was too late. So I think that's the...
So you're really... I mean, sure, you're walking around. There's announcements of watch out for a terrorist. This message brought to you by Homeland Security. I mean, it is super... It's like they watched a B-movie about a nightmare police state and are copying it.
Right. It's like Gattaca, Rollerblade, and a few of those others, Enemy of the State, all rolled up into one.
It's nuts. And it's all because the bankers want to suck everybody dry. WayneMadsenReport.com. Wayne, talk to you again soon. Thanks for updating us on WikiLeaks.
You bet.
We'll be right back with Max Keiser and a bunch of other key news. Stay with us. Transmission will continue until the FCC shuts us off. Infowars.com.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
You know, you can cut the benefits and the health care of veterans all day. You can free Social Security. You can raise taxes. We're never going to get out of debt because the bankers don't want us to get out of debt until they go to prison, the big mega banks, not your local bank. Until we write off the thousands of trillions of made-off type scam money. And that's the issue. This is designed to destroy our economy. I want to get into the economy and Obama's little press release and the press conference he's giving right now about tax cuts. That is coming up. But first, I wanted to play a short little video that was made 3 months ago. And you'll notice when the video was made, silver was $22 an ounce. Now it's above $30. It'll probably go back down a few dollars, but then surge back up even more if you follow the trends, if you follow the graphs. Overall, it's going straight up because of dollar devaluation. But I wanted to play this video that I think really illustrates what's happening and what's unfolding. It's called The Silver Perspective. But remember, the equations they're giving you here in this little 3-minute video is dealing with silver at about $22 an ounce. It's already above 30. So here it is.
is great excitement in the precious metals world as the mainstream media trumpets gold's rise to an all-time high and silver's vault to a 30-year high. So as excitement and public awareness of precious metals builds, how do we keep perspective on our own holdings? And how can a new silver investor make an informed decision to buy physical silver for the first time at today's prices? How valuable is 1 ounce of silver? The mainstream media constantly touts silver's all-time high as being $50 an ounce, which was reached in 1980 when the Hunt brothers cornered the silver market. So, how much money was $50 in 1980? Well, a movie ticket cost about $2.50, a first-class stamp cost 15 cents, and a gallon of gas was $1.25, while the median household income in the United States was $17,700. So, inflation means everything. Accounting for inflation is key when discussing silver. With that perspective, let's go back to the much-discussed $50 all-time high for silver. In today's dollars, the real all-time high for silver, when adjusting for inflation, is $138 an ounce. This, according to Eric King and esteemed economist John Williams. Just as a movie ticket in 1980 was $2.50, today a movie ticket is pushing $10. So too, the inflation-adjusted all-time high in silver is much higher than the oft-reported $50 an ounce. At today's silver price of approximately $21.50, silver is 57% below its 1980 high of $50. However, at $21.50 an ounce, silver is 85.5% below its inflation-adjusted all-time high of $138 an ounce. No wonder billionaire investor Jim Rogers often states that silver is still 85% below its high. To keep our perspective on the tremendous opportunity silver currently offers investors, we must remember, in 1980, when silver reached $50 per ounce, there was no derivatives bubble. There was no concern of fiat dollars flooding the world. There was no multi-trillion-dollar bailouts of Wall Street banks. And most importantly, there was no proven 100-to-1 paper manipulation of gold and silver markets.
Precious metals are financial assets, and like currencies and T-bills and T-bonds, they trade in the multiples of 100 times the underlying physical. They trade in the multiples of 100 times the underlying physical.
Silver is such an undervalued bargain, it defies belief, until you come to understand that the banks have suppressed the price with paper shorts and paper silver. Then, it makes perfect sense. At this very moment, we are living through dramatic historical events. Both gold and silver are now breaking the bonds of the manipulation that has long suppressed them. And silver, trading in lockstep with gold, is returning to its 5,000-year history as a monetary metal. The gains investors have made to date have been stunning. But as the bankers are forced to cover their short positions and the true value of these precious metals is once again rediscovered, the pricing moves for gold and silver that lie in the years ahead will be talked about for generations.
All right. That's the Silver Perspective by SGT Bull 07 on YouTube. Excellent videos on that channel. Max Keiser's coming up in about 3 minutes because silver has risen again. And I've had major newspapers, magazines, TV networks calling me saying, so you and Max Keiser did this. And I certainly don't deserve much of the credit. My audience does to a certain extent. Keiser jumped on a bandwagon already going by grassroots people. He pointed that out. He did supercharge it. But I'm not even sure we're having the overall or even a minority effect on silver going up. It's the dollar devaluation. It's the Chinese upping their holdings of gold 5-fold, according to the Financial Times, doubling their acceleration of purchasing silver. You know, we hear about euro down, dollar up. Now today, euro up, dollar down. And it's all the same big global banks. They just run one up, one run down. But overall, the currencies are being devalued and commodities are going up. I mean, it's a very simple equation. Here's Market Watch. U.S. dollar slips versus euro as uncertainties ease. And then it'll be the U.S. that goes down. Then it'll be the euro that goes down. Then they'll both go back up a little and then down even more. They're going down incrementally, gold and silver going up incrementally. Look at the long-term 10-year, 5-year, 1-year graphs, not the weekly graphs. Gold's down a few bucks today. Silver, last time I checked, is still up to near record highs, over $30. But we'll get the latest from Ted Anderson here briefly.